The same people who laughed behind your back are now stuck in silence. And why? Because someone with real influence just said your name with respect. Let that sink in for a second. You've been lied about, shut out, talked about like a joke. But through all that, you kept quiet. Not because you were weak, but because you were thinking, waiting. And the universe? It was watching, listening. And just last night, everything turned. The stage they set up to embarrass you. Now that same stage is where the truth is finally showing up, front and center. And the best part, everyone's watching. The show is packed. Here's the thing, they were never scared of you because they thought you were weak, but now they're freaking out. Not because you spoke up, but because someone they thought would never take your side just stood up loud, proud, and without a second thought. Truth doesn't need a hype squad. It shows up on its own and still takes over the whole room. And right now, that truth is carrying your name like it's armor. Thank you for being part of this journey, chosen one. If this message is speaking to you, hit like and subscribe so it can reach more people who need it. This mission is about more than just words. Your support is what makes it move. You're not just someone watching, you're part of this. Now let's keep going. You've always been the quiet strength, the one they ignored, laughed at, brushed off. They threw shade thinking it would hide you. But they didn't know you weren't gone. You were growing. Like a seed in the dirt, they thought you were done. But seeds don't die. They dig in. They rise. You used to be the easy target, the one who never fought back, the one they thought nobody would stand up for. That's exactly why they came at you so confidently. They believed nobody cared. But they were so wrong. While you sat there in silence, the universe was building something for you, like how a storm starts slow then hits all at once. They had their fun, said what they wanted, laughed at your pain like it meant nothing. But what they missed is that karma doesn't knock. It kicks the door in when it's time. And that door? It just came off the hinges. Someone they trust, someone high up, someone they never saw coming just said, enough. And when the right person speaks, it doesn't echo. It shakes the whole space. Now they're rushing, trying to clean up, act innocent, pretend they were never part of the mess. But the truth is showing up, and it brought the receipts, real ones, time-stamped. This isn't some random defense post. This is someone with real influence, someone who matters, and they're standing up for you not because they feel bad, but because the truth is too big to ignore. What used to be whispered in secret is now being shouted in public. You're no longer the one being blamed, you're the proof. And this shift? It didn't just happen by luck, it was made. They thought you would stay buried in their fake version of the story. But here's the twist. You were never just a part of the story. You were the whole thing. The story was always about you. And now the switch is so big, it's got their heads spinning. The same people who helped bring you down are now ducking, trying not to be seen. Because all of a sudden, you're the one rising, and they can't do anything about it. They can't control the talk anymore. Not when someone with a voice is out there correcting their lies in real time. Not when your name is being honored in places you weren't even allowed before. Not when your silence has turned into a roar they can't avoid. That's what happens when the universe moves. Nothing stands in its way. The worst kind of betrayal, it doesn't always come loud. Sometimes the ones who say nothing while you're being torn apart do the most damage. But here's where it flips. One of those quiet ones, they switched sides. They're not staying silent anymore. They're speaking up, strong and clear. And that's why everyone else is scared now. Because when someone respected, someone people actually listen to, decides to defend the person everyone agreed to attack, it shakes everything up. Now the lies look weak. Their fake sympathy sounds fake. Their confident smirks have turned into blank stares. That's the power of one voice choosing truth over safety. So yes, you were looked down on, judged wrong, ignored. But only by people who never saw you for who you are. The universe did. It always did. And now, it's showing up in ways no one can pretend to ignore. This isn't just a small change. The whole story flipped upside down. The tables didn't just turn, they spun hard. The ones who tried to shut you up are now praying someone shuts up the person defending you. But it's too late for that. And this is just the beginning. Chosen One, are you ready to break this all down step by step? Because what just happened in your life, it's not random. It's a shift, a complete flip. Every little thing matters now. Drop a 77 in the comments if you can feel it. The universe stepping in loud and clear. And if this message is hitting your heart, throw in a super thanks. These truths don't come easy, and your help keeps them flowing. Whether it's a coin or a kind word, it moves the mission forward. You're not just watching, but you're part of this moment. Now let's keep going. If you're really who I think you are, the true chosen one, you're feeling this deep. Not in your mind, but in your gut. Don't scroll past this. Stay locked in, because by the time this is over, you're not going to look at yourself or your enemies the same. Here's the first point. They thought you were easy to break. Now they're breaking themselves, trying to clean up the mess they made. They weren't scared of you when they thought you had no power, but now they're choking on fear because someone powerful just said your name. With respect. They laughed before, didn't they? Loud, bold, like your silence was funny, like your pain was a joke. They sat in rooms where you weren't allowed and used your name for laughs. No guilt, no pause, just pride in what they did. They believed you were alone, that you had no voice, no backup, nothing. That's why they felt so bold. But here it's the truth about people who confuse quiet with weak. They get loud when consequences show up. They didn't just misjudge you, they gambled on your silence. They built their fake power on the idea that nobody would ever stand up for you. In their minds, you were small, unimportant, just a name they could toss around when they got bored. They thought making fun of you made them powerful. They thought putting you down made them untouchable. But something changed overnight, and it wasn't your world falling, it was theirs. Now someone with real weight, real status, is speaking the truth about you with zero hesitation. And that same crowd who used to laugh, they can't even say your name now without feeling fear crawl up their spine. They're not panicking because they care. They're panicking because they've been exposed. The storm they thought you'd drown in, it turned around, and now it's washing away their lies, their made-up stories, their carefully planned lies. You're not even moving, but everything around them is crashing. Why? Because someone with strength just showed up, and they not whispering, they calling it all out. Let's be clear, what flipped last night wasn't just the story. It was the power. You didn't suddenly get louder. You became impossible to ignore. And it's driving them wild. They're running around trying to fix the mess, calling in favors, trying to save face. But when the truth shines, it shows every crack. It shows guilt. And it's showing everything they tried to cover up. Now they're panicking, holding last-minute meetings, calling people they haven't talked to in years, trying to come up with new lies fast enough to stay safe. But it's too late. The evidence is out. The truth is right in front of everyone. And the story they push so hard, it's burning down fast. And what are you doing? Sitting still, watching it all, breathing, not even lifting a hand, because now the universe is running the show. This isn't about revenge. This is about the truth being done waiting. This is justice, raw and real. Why were they so sure nothing would happen? Because nobody ever called them out before. They moved in shadows, fed off group thinking, hid behind fake smiles and clout. And you didn't play their game. You didn't yell back. You didn't fight dirty. You stayed calm. So they thought you were easy to erase. But the truth is, you were never alone. You were being protected. The universe was setting the stage for a moment no one could look away from. They called you weak, but your silence became a mirror they couldn't look into. And now that someone with real power is holding that mirror up for everyone to see, they're shrinking under the weight of their own actions. Because what do cowards fear more than anything? Being held responsible. They can lie in private. They can put on a show behind closed doors. But when the truth walks in with backup, They fall apart, and that's what's happening now. Here's the wild part. They're not even sorry for what they did. They're just sorry they got caught. There's a big difference. They're not regretful they laughed while you were in pain. They just hate that someone important finally said it wasn't okay. That's why their energy changed. That's why they're acting weird. That's why they're fumbling their stories. It's not guilt, it's fear. They're sweating because the pressure's on. You feel it too, right? The energy's different now. People look at you with respect, not pity. They're starting to get it. The person they ignored and doubted. That person had the universe backing them the whole time. And now that backing has a voice, it has a name, and it's way louder than any lie they ever told. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to fight anyone. The spotlight is already shining on what's real. The truth is speaking for you. And what's hitting hardest? Someone else, someone with real power, chose to defend you, not for fame, not for attention, but for what's right. And the best part? They're not holding back. The person stepping up for you came ready, with the facts and the light. They're pulling out everything your enemies tried to hide, and this time, you're not the one being questioned. They are. Their fake boldness is crumbling. Their games are exposed. Their lies are turning into their own trap, and all you had to do was survive long enough to see this part begin. Now they're falling apart, watching everything crash. The same mouths that talk bad about you, they've gone dry. The same eyes that rolled when you told the truth, now wide open with panic. They thought your silence meant you gave up. But really, it was your plan. They didn't just bet against you. They bet against the power behind you. And now, that power has shown up loud and real, and it's saying your name with fire. So let them run around trying to cover their tracks. The truth already followed the trail. And now, that trail leads straight back to them. You don't owe them anything. Not an answer, not a warning, not even your attention. Just sit back. Let the truth do what it does best. Burn through the lies while your name stays untouched. Dear chosen ones, your love inspires us to create meaningful content just for you. If our efforts have touched your heart, you can show your support by clicking the Super Thanks button on your YouTube screen. Every bit of your kindness means the world to us and keeps us going. Thank you for being the amazing support system that you are. Now back to the topic. You never needed a big show. You just needed one strong voice to speak loud enough to break the silence. When you spoke your truth, they ignored it. But now that someone with influence is saying the same thing, suddenly everyone is paying attention. Let's make this clear. Chosen one, you never lacked the truth. You lacked the microphone. You had clarity. You had real facts. Your experience was written across the pain you've lived through. But most people didn't care. Not because you were wrong, but because it was easier to pretend they didn't hear you. All it took was one voice. Just one person who people actually notice. Someone with visibility, power, and courage to say, this stops here. And just like that, the whole vibe in the room changed. The same people who were comfortable watching you get dragged are now dead silent, hoping they're not next. You didn't need a stadium. You didn't need 1 million people to repost your pain. You just needed one clear voice that couldn't be silenced. And now that it's here, everything they built on lies is falling apart like a house made of paper in the rain. A single spark can burn down a whole forest of fake stories, especially when those stories were already dry and empty on the inside. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a crowd, yelling the truth, but no one even turns their head. A few people glance, maybe someone nods like they feel bad, but no one stands beside you. Then suddenly, one person, someone they all look up to, steps out of that same crowd, stands right next to you and says, they're telling the truth. Watch how fast everything changes. Watch the silence grow thick. Watch people start shifting nervously. That's the power of the moment you're standing in right now. They thought if they ignored you long enough, you'd disappear. They thought silence would erase you, that if enough people turned away, your truth would break under the pressure. But silence isn't harmless. Silence is people pretending to be neutral while they quietly take the side of the lie. But now that silence is being destroyed. And here's the best part. You never begged for this moment. You didn't trade your truth for approval. You walked your path alone, knowing it might be a lonely one for a while, but it would never be the wrong one. That's what set you apart from the noise. That's what made you different. Truth doesn't need a team or a cheer squad. It just needs a platform. And now, chosen one, that platform is yours. They watched everything that was being done to you and stayed quiet. Not because they didn't know it was wrong, but because saying something would have cost them. It would have cost their comfort, their status, their relationships. But now that staying silent could cost them something, suddenly their bravery showed up. Isn't it funny how that works? Some of them even agreed with you behind the scenes. They said all the right things when no one else was around. But when it was time to speak up in public, they vanished. Cowards love the shadows. But someone who's not afraid finally stepped forward, and now those shadows are fading away. One fearless voice can shake an entire room full of people pretending to care. Let's talk about what might be sitting heavy in your chest. Why now? Why did it take so long? Why didn't they see the truth before? Because truth doesn't move fast. It waits, it watches, it shows up when it knows its presence will hit the hardest. Truth isn't interested in soft, quiet corrections. It waits for the moment where everything crashes loud. And now that someone with real influence has finally spoken, every lie that was whispered is becoming a public problem. The same people who talked bad about you behind your back are now pretending like they were never involved. The mouths that used to spread doubt about your character are suddenly quiet, too busy trying to stay out of the drama, but it's not working anymore. Their silence is no longer a shield, it's a spotlight. And the most powerful part? The person who's defending you right now, they're not doing it for attention, not for followers, not to be liked. They're doing it because they saw you. They saw the strength it took to hold your tongue. They saw how calm you stayed when people threw dirt at you. They noticed how you didn't react, even when everything in you probably wanted to. Their voice isn't soft, it's direct, it's powerful, it's everything you were saying, just louder, stronger, and with access to places your voice couldn't reach. Not because your truth was small, but because the system is broken. But now, the system is shaking. And here's the part that hits different. They used to ask, "Where's your proof?" when you were the proof the whole time. But now the same truth is coming out of a mouth they respect. So now the whole conversation is different. You're not the one being told to prove anything anymore. They are. They always needed a group to feel strong. You just needed one person brave enough to say the truth out loud in front of them. It's wild how fast people start remembering what they pretended to forget when someone with authority speaks up. Now the same people who didn't lift a finger to help you are suddenly trying to clean up what they helped create. But it's too late. The truth is out. The damage is done. And this time, the damage isn't on you. You were the one they tried to wipe out. But now, the same power they were hoping would silence you is speaking louder than they ever could. They can't fight it. They can't twist it. They can't deny it. Because the person defending you comes with real facts, with a solid name, and a clear message that nobody can twist or manipulate. Just imagine their faces now, chosen one. The same people who laughed when your story was told are now nodding along while someone they respect speaks your truth back to them. It's not just satisfying, it's smart. The universe made sure the right person saw you, heard you, and chose to say something. That's why everything is turning around now. It's not about having a crowd. Crowds chase trends. They flip and change and forget. But one solid voice with real power, that's legacy, that's change. And that's what's showing up for you now. So no, you didn't need an army. You just needed one person who was brave enough to speak up in a room full of liars. And that person showed up, their voices cutting through the lies like a knife. Every fake story ever told about you is now stuck in the smoke, unable to breathe. Let them run around trying to rewrite their part in the story. Let them panic, because now the people who matter know what you always knew. You were never the problem. You were always the truth, just walking quietly through a world built on fake masks. You didn't need a crowd clapping for you to know your worth. You didn't need a big platform to be real. All you needed was time. And now, time's up. The voice is here. And it's not asking for permission. It's flipping the script for good. They laughed at you when you were standing alone. Now they're scared because someone with real influence just stepped into the spotlight. They weren't afraid to hurt you. They were only afraid that someone powerful might notice they did it. They were loud and cruel when they thought no one had your back. They thought they could say and do anything without getting checked. That's the thing about people who abuse power. They only go as far as they think they can get away with. When they think the room is full of people too scared to speak up, they feel bold. They don't just mistreat you, they enjoy it. They laugh behind your back, twist your words, and drag your name like it means nothing. You were never a person to them. You were just something they could use to dump their own mess onto. And why? Because you didn't fight back. Because you stayed calm. Because you didn't have a big voice on your side. Not yet, but now, the wind has changed. The air feels different. Someone with presence just showed up. Someone they're actually scared of. Someone whose voice carries weight in all the right places. And this person isn't just watching. They're speaking, loudly, directly. And now the ones who used to treat you like nothing are trying to act neutral, like they were never involved. But it's too late for fake behavior. The moment they realized someone bigger than them was in the room, everything changed. That's what real power does. It shakes the floor under liars. It forces masks to fall off. Now they're tiptoeing around, hoping not to get named, rehearsing new stories in case they're next. Have you noticed how different they're acting now? The same people who used to smirk when your name came up are acting jumpy, overly nice, too polite. Why? Because the silence they used to count on is gone, and someone they can't control is now watching them close. They really thought they'd stay on top forever. They bet on you staying quiet. But now they're feeling what real pressure is. And trust me, this is just the beginning. They called you a liar, over and over, just hoping no one would bother to check the facts. But now, someone else brought the truth. And everything they built is falling apart. They called you unstable, jealous, bitter. They built a fake story to paint you as the problem. And for a while it worked. They had backup. They had people repeating their story because your silence made them feel bold. They figured if they said it enough, no one would question it. They counted on that. They buried your truth and dared anyone to dig it back up. But they never expected someone else was watching the whole time. Someone who didn't just hear about it, they saw it. And even better, they saved proof. Not for gossip, not for revenge, but because the truth always finds its way out. Now all those lies are falling apart, buried under the weight of cold, solid evidence. You didn't have to bring the files. The universe sent someone who already had them, and they didn't come quietly. Now, every fake word said about you is being crushed under proof that can't be ignored. They can't lie their way out. They can't blame you anymore. And the best part? You did absolutely nothing. The truth handled it all. They controlled the whole narrative until the person they were trying to impress turned around and said, "You're the problem." That's what really breaks someone who lies for a living, when their own idol calls them out. For years, they acted like the victim. They fooled everyone into thinking they were the ones who got hurt. They didn't need to be honest, just loud, dramatic, and fake enough to sound real. And it worked. Nobody called them out. Nobody had the guts. Until now. Imagine the silence when that one person, the one they were performing for, looked them in the eye and said, "You're the problem." Not with kindness, not with soft words, just raw truth, loud and clear. Their fake confidence broke instantly. That's what real influence does. And the best part, you didn't ask for any of this. You didn't beg for help. The truth showed up on its own, and it spoke in a way they couldn't twist. The mask they wore for years, gone. That one sentence exposed everything. People used to believe them just because they sounded convincing. Not because what they said made sense, but because they had presence. People were scared to go against them. But that all fell apart the moment someone brave enough finally stood up. Now they're scrambling, telling new versions of the same old story, hoping someone will still believe them, but no one's falling for it anymore. The sympathy tank is empty. The crowd is waking up, because the truth didn't come from you this time. It came from someone they can ignore. You didn't lift a finger. The truth came in someone else's voice, and it broke their whole game apart. They tried to erase you. Now your name is being spoken in places they swore you'd never get into. They shut the doors and thought that was enough. But the universe doesn't need keys. It walks through walls. They thought they could cut you out, hide your name, talk behind your back without any consequences. You weren't just left out. They made sure you were erased. Not because you didn't matter, but because your truth was too powerful for their fake story to survive. They made you the bad guy in rooms you weren't even allowed in. But they never expected someone else would walk in with the truth. Someone who watched, listened, waited, and when the time came, they spoke. And when they did, everything changed, because this wasn't just anyone. This was someone with real weight, someone who doesn't get ignored, someone who could challenge the whole room and still be heard. Now those rooms that used to laugh behind your back, they're quiet. The mouths that once spread lies, shut. They didn't just hear the truth, they felt it. That's what happens when a powerful voice speaks from a place of clarity. Now your name is being cleared in places you weren't even invited to. Your story is being corrected by someone who didn't need you there to believe you. That's not just justice, that's balance. That's the universe moving exactly how it needed to. They tried to erase you, but now your name is rising even without your presence. If you feel this stirring inside you, drop 77 in the comments now. Let every other chosen one know that the shift has begun. Stay tuned, because what comes next will shake you to your core. The same people who stayed quiet when your name was being dragged are suddenly trying to act like they were on your side the whole time. But don't let it fool you. They're not showing loyalty because they care. They're doing it because now the heat's getting close, and silence might finally cost them something. Back then, they kept their mouths shut while you were being torn apart. That wasn't neutrality. That was support for your enemies, just wearing a different mask. They weren't clueless. They heard the gossip. They saw how you were being played with. Some of them even admitted it behind closed doors, but still chose to stay quiet. And in doing so, they gave space for your enemies to sharpen their blades. Some even laughed at the rumors behind screens. Some gave you fake love in public while texting your name into group chats with people who never had good intentions. They claimed they didn't want drama, said they were staying out of it. But let's not lie about it. You were the one being hurt, and they were just trying not to get dirty while watching it happen. But now everything's changing. That one voice, the one that holds real power and is defending you, they stepped into the picture. And just like that, the energy shifted. Now, the same people who were silent are suddenly liking your posts, sharing your quotes, and dropping half-hearted apologies like, "I always believed in you." But you remember, these were the same ones who said nothing when it mattered most. Now they're just trying to jump ship because they sense the fire getting closer. They're not backing you out of truth. They're running from being exposed. When the spotlight moves, so do cowards. Not because they grew, but because they're scared of being next. Picture it like this. Someone's throwing rocks at you in a crowd. Nobody helps, nobody steps in. But the moment someone powerful shows up and asks, "Who did that?" everyone starts pointing in other directions. Suddenly, they're holding water bottles, acting like they were worried about you all along. That's what's happening now. This isn't love. It's fear of getting caught in the same mess. These people aren't clapping for your truth. They're trying not to drown in it. They see the facts coming out. They hear the questions being asked. And they know the spotlight never just exposes the liar. It also exposes the ones who stayed quiet, the ones who laughed, the ones who helped in silence. So now they're rewriting their roles, switching teams mid-scene, trying to fake loyalty. But don't fall for it. This isn't a comeback story. It's a cover-up. They didn't stand with you when it cost them something. Don't hand them your trust now that it's convenient. Let them stay outside the circle. Let them watch from a distance. Trust doesn't get recycled. It's earned, and they left theirs on the ground the moment they chose comfort over courage. That kindness they're showing now, that's not healing. That's fear dressed up as friendliness. They really thought they were safe. Then everything blew up in their faces with a full audience watching. The universe didn't just uncover what they did. It made sure everyone who clapped for their lies saw the whole thing fall apart. This could have happened earlier. The truth could have come out when you were still healing, still wondering if maybe you were the problem. But it didn't. That wasn't a delay, that was timing. Sharp, calculated, perfect timing. Because the truth doesn't always show up when you're crying. Sometimes it waits. Waits until they get cocky, until they're performing their fake version of the story with full confidence. That's when the universe moves. Not quietly, not slowly, but all at once. Loud and impossible to ignore. They were stacking lies like blocks, walking around like they were the good guys. And just when they thought no one could touch them, the truth came crashing in like a storm. And it wasn't just about clearing your name. It was about making sure everyone saw the whole performance fall apart. People who once reposted their victim stories, gone. People who helped spread their lies, vanishing, deleting, acting like they were never involved. Why? Because the truth didn't break quietly. It exploded right in front of everyone. That wasn't random. It was cosmic. The universe waited for their pride to be loud enough and then dropped the truth like a hammer. Now they were not just exposed for what they did. They re-exposed for how many people they fooled. The room that once clapped for them, dead, silent. People are looking around, embarrassed, not knowing what to say. And the worst part for your enemies, they can't deny it. The proof is too loud. The evidence is too strong. You didn't chase revenge. You didn't beg for anyone to believe you. You let it unfold. And it did. Perfectly. They thought they had everything under control. But the truth made sure everyone saw the moment their lies fell apart. You were the proof the whole time. They just didn't realize silence could scream so loud. They wanted you to explode. They pushed and poked, waiting for a reaction they could twist into their narrative. That was their trap. They didn't care about what was true. They wanted something to use against you, but you didn't give it to them. You didn't lose control. You didn't beg for attention. You didn't demand people take your side. You just stayed grounded. You stayed consistent. And that consistency was the loudest thing in the room. You didn't match their mess. You didn't get drawn into their drama. And that exposed all of it. They mocked your quiet. They said silence meant guilt, but they didn't understand. Silence, when built on truth, is the most powerful thing there is. It scares manipulators. It shows the cracks in their performance. And every time you chose to rise above, every time you chose grace over getting even, you were building a contrast that made the truth stand out even more. And someone noticed. Not just anyone. Someone sharp. Someone with eyes that see beyond the noise. Someone who was watching you while you thought nobody was. They saw the way you held yourself. They saw how your peace looked stronger than any loud lie ever could. And now that person is using their voice, not to overshadow you, but to lift your truth even higher. They're not confused. They know exactly what happened. They've seen both sides, and they're not here to play nice. The comparison between your actions and theirs, that alone speaks volumes. You didn't have to shout, you didn't have to throw punches, you just endured. And that endurance, that was the loudest evidence of all. While they screamed, you stood. And in the end, peace became the strongest witness in the room. You were never the one on trial, they were, and your silence wasn't weakness. It was patience, it was strength. It was the very thing they tried to pull out of you so they could twist it into a weapon. But you didn't give in. And now that the truth is rising, people are finally seeing what your silence really meant. Calm, power, and truth. They thought they buried you with their noise, but that quiet you held on to, it's now echoing louder than anything they ever said, and the one defending you. They didn't come to hand out sympathy. They showed up ready to burn every lie to the ground. Loyalty is one thing, but this person, they came with heat, they came with facts, and they came to expose everything. This isn't someone whispering from the sidelines. This is a storm in human form, a voice that doesn't just speak, but shifts the room when they do. They didn't show up to comfort you. They showed up to correct every single thing that was said against you. They pulled back the curtain, ripped off the masks, and took down every fake structure that was built on your pain. They're not here because they feel sorry for you. They're here because they believe in truth, and they're willing to fight for it. They saw the fake stories, the pretend victimhood, the games being played, and they said, enough. This isn't random support, this is a takedown. A takedown built with precision, with timelines, with names, with proof. Your enemies aren't scared of your silence anymore. They're scared of the voice that just walked in on your behalf. That voice isn't yelling for attention. It's moving smart. It has details, context, receipts. It knows who said what, who helped hide it, and exactly when it happened. And they're not just hinting, they're naming names. This isn't defense, this is demolition. And it's happening live. The people who once thought you were alone are now watching their own support systems fall apart. Not because you got louder, but because someone who matters got loud for you. Someone who doesn't flinch. Someone who doesn't care about fake apologies or fake relationships. They're not here to cry. They're here to finish it with the truth. And that truth, it's burning through everything. Your enemies are now bracing because they see the power behind you and know they can't fight it. They're not just scared of you anymore. They're scared of who's watching them now. Back when they did what they did, they weren't worried. You didn't have power in their world. You didn't have reach. They thought it was safe to attack you, to mock you, to spread lies without consequences. They didn't expect someone with real status to be watching, someone they couldn't influence, someone who sees through the performance, the fake tears, the fake stories. This person isn't here for feelings, they're here for facts. And those facts, they're lined up, ready, undeniable. Now your enemies are nervous, not because you're finally speaking, but because someone who holds real weight is. They spent so long trying to control the narrative, running their mouth, pushing their version of the story. But now every part of it is under a microscope. They can't cry their way out. They can't twist the story. The voice calling them out isn't here to play nice. This voice holds power. Enough to change the way rooms see you, enough to shift decisions, enough to end reputations with a single word. They feared exposure, but only if it came from someone respected. Now that it has, they're in full panic mode. This isn't about guilt, it's about consequences, because this person defending you, they have the power to undo everything your enemies built off your pain. And there's no way to stop it now. They're cornered. And none of this was random. This was deeper than chance. What felt like silence? That was the universe building a courtroom. And now the judgment has dropped. You were always right. They were always in the wrong. What just happened in your life? It wasn't luck. It wasn't some random energy shift. This was strategic, intentional, a universal ruling handed down at the perfect moment. The case was building all along, quietly. While they laughed, performed, lied, and pretended. The charges? Abuse of truth, use of influence for harm, repeating lies with no accountability. The judgment? Delivered. And it wasn't emotional, it was final. The person now defending you, they're not just a supporter, they're the proof. They are what divine timing looks like in human form. This isn't about revenge. It's about balance, real justice, the kind that arrives not with noise, but with precision. You didn't force it. You didn't need to. You outlasted the lie. You stayed true. And now the world sees. Doors are closing on them. Trust is disappearing. Their power is fading, and they have no clue how to fix it. But you do. Because you didn't win this by force. You won by standing still. While they shouted, you stayed silent. While they played dirty, you kept your hands clean. And now, that silence is echoing everywhere. This courtroom wasn't built with walls. It was built with truth. And now that truth is standing tall in public for everyone to see. The same people who once stood against you, they're watching, quiet, ashamed, pretending they never clapped. Because now the whole story is being rewritten, and your name is on the cover. This isn't the end, it's just the beginning. If this today's message resonates with your spirit, write 77 in the comments below and declare your readiness. This is your moment to show your strength, not just to yourself, but to the world. So, my beloved chosen family, your love inspires us to create meaningful content just for you. If our efforts have touched your heart, you can show your support by clicking the Super Thanks button on your YouTube screen. Every bit of your kindness means the world to us and keeps us going. Thank you for being the amazing support system that you are. We're forever grateful for your love and encouragement. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye.